Well, fuck yeah. Here we are. We're going.
Okay. So you really want to know, huh? Fine. I'm going to start by telling you this. And this is important, so listen up. Your entire life, this one and many others, you've been a god who uses its absolute power to make yourself powerless. Entire cultures, especially this one, have all been afraid of their weaknesses, supposedly. When in reality, they've all been afraid of their power. This goes beyond the matrix of reality. This is something much deeper than that. This is eternal. This is fully realizing your consciousness. This is infinite. This is evolution. This is our divine right.
Marja West, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure to have you. I have been a fan ever since I found you, and I know you've had quite a long road here in this sort of industry. What would we call it? Self-help or spirituality?
Self-hell.
Self-help.
What I call it.
I think we're good. I think we've already titled the episode, which is pretty impressive for 2 minutes in. And I've already lost 20 followers. Peace, guys. It wasn't meant to be. No, Marja and I connected, a couple of weeks ago, maybe I'd say a week or two ago.
Yeah.
And you have
I've been following you for a long time.
Well, that's really sweet. And I would have been following you for a long time too, but your channel got deleted a few years ago.
Yeah, my shit gets wrecked every now and again.
And I guess that's what happens, when you stand up for certain things. And we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about our journey. Of course, I'm trying to, throw shade on anybody or throw anybody under the bus. But
they can throw me under the bus. It's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I can take it.
I've got at least
roll with it.
Yeah, I've got 4 cheeks. That's how many cheeks I've got. So I'll just keep turning them until I run out, and then I'll turn into an asshole. So
no, I will not be called a bitch because I'm not a bitch. I am an asshole though. I will own that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that. It is good. We're already off to a fiery start.
They've been warned.
And you know what? That's fair. I think that you've done an amazing job. I've been watching your videos, and a friend of mine commented underneath one of the videos, was like, "Can I get some dressing with this word salad?"
Because I loved it. And I wanted to say something like, well, it's tough to undress a salad. That's for sure. I mean, when you think about it, how do you do that? How do you undress a salad? You need a fairy to do that.
That's right. That is a magical process, and it's going to cost you a few bucks.
And that is actually a card in one of the fairy oracles. I don't remember which one, but it's actually pretty cool. Undressing a fucking salad.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's like putting toothpaste back in a tube, It's difficult. Not easy to do.
God, without spitting. It's good.
It is. So we both have had some bumps along our journey into this sort of industry and this realm, and I thought we might talk a little bit about that today.
Okay.
Just because it's interesting, and if anybody's new to the movement, or if anybody's been in the movement and been like, I wonder why I've seen a red flag here or a red flag there. I was pretty naive when I got into all of this, especially when I started teaching, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it, or sharing, I think is probably more accurate. And, I didn't realize that there might be people who just wanted to profit maybe, or weren't really interested in people's growth as much as maybe their own. It might not even be about money. It might be about, validation or ego or whatever, which I've been accused of.
Stealing your shit or stealing your stuff.
Yeah, there's that too. There's all kinds of strange things and weird, weird motivations for people to come and be a part of this self-help movement. It might just be recognition. Some people maybe just didn't get hugged enough when they were a kid. And I get that, we all have traumas and stuff like that as well. But I thought I would talk with you about it because I know, I don't necessarily think you need to rehash your entire story or anything like that. But I know
I won't, because I've transurfed the fuck out of it.
Hell yeah.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. In fact, I really believe that I in hindsight, I fucking asked for it. I really did.
well,
You
then
know?
maybe we can talk a little bit about that in
Yeah.
vagaries, because I feel the same way. Like had I known some things before, I might have been a little bit I don't know, more discreet maybe, or just more clever. Like coyote medicine is something that
Yes.
I've recently
Yes.
learned a little bit about.
Coyote medicine is very, very good because you've got to trick the tricksters.
That's right. And you've got to fly under the radar. And if you cause a bunch of waves and strife, and if you pick a fight, you're going to get a fight.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And I think I always knew that, but I think what I got caught in was the whole feeling and the whole premise of all of the work that I was doing being my moral fucking obligation to out. That is a big mistake, because what it does is that it negates one of the prime directives of reality creation, is that everyone gets to exist. Everything gets to exist in and out of the matrix. And when you push up against the shit you don't like, excess potentials, balancing forces, they come all the time. They will come and wreck your shit. And, you know, I had warning signs along the way. I blew them off.
I did. I've
My
done that too.
silly
Sure.
arrogance, oh, nothing's going to touch me. I will survive. And it's like, yeah, you're going to survive. And guess what? Your shit is going to get wrecked all the way across the board. My relationship went to shit. Everything went to shit. And you just have to like, whoa, dude, what just happened to me?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a surprise when you really do the math and you prove both sides of the equation, and how utterly self-inflicted the whole shebang was.
Yeah, fair enough. I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of days ago, actually, and we were talking about and how difficult it is to sort of get rid of someone who's maybe like an energetic vampire, for instance. An energetic vampire, very real thing, people that just suck your energy. They don't know how to, I think it's mostly subconscious too. They just don't know how to generate their own energy and take from, source. So they just take it from other people, and it's mostly subconscious. I think most of those folks aren't even aware of what they're doing. But if you try and, challenge that, or if you confront it, then it doesn't do anything but steal more of your energy. So
yeah, you match them. It becomes a tit for tat. And before you know it, you're doing this energetic tango. You suck me, I'll suck you. Sorry.
No.
But in a nutshell, that's kind of what it is. And you try to explain that even to just early students of, say, energy mastery, and they have no idea. They have no idea of the sort of matchy thing that has to happen. And you have to be very, very clear about what your intentions are without, pushing up against anything.
Absolutely. And we can apply that same philosophy to pendulums or egregores or energetic information structures, or whatever they're called, these collections of energies that, we're like, hey, look at this thing over here. It's terrible. It's evil and bad. And we want to fuck this thing up. Yeah. And, at that point, you've picked a fight unknowingly, and the energy behind that is represented by something physical, but that energy itself is what you're tangling with, and you're literally adding to it, and now it's swinging toward you.
Exactly. And you would think that I would know that. And my work is really, it really dives into some very ugly, very evil, dirty, the most despicable rabbit holes you can possibly imagine, having to deal with human trafficking, pedophilia, satanic ritual abuse. I mean, I've been doing this for over 30 years, and you would think that I would get it, that even though they are evil, they have every right to exist. And, oh, what happened? I mean, it blows my mind that I completely was entrenched in this sort of destruction of them and got caught into the me versus them, us versus them paradigm. So that left, right, center paradigm of polarity, yeah, I mean, even the center is polarized, okay, because it is the net that's between the left and the right. And it's like, oh my God, hello, nurse, what happened?
Right.
I mean, I snoozed, literally snoozed, fell asleep.
Right.
In the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. And it happens. It's really easy to do. It's something that I've certainly done myself. You know, when we're maybe trying to out something like that, I think the best thing to do is, obviously you can't draw attention to yourself. You know, you have to be Fabian about it.
Exactly. And I was drawing nothing but attention to myself.
Yeah.
I'm loud and I'm not obnoxious and I'm very small. So, you know, people are quite disarmed when they meet me, and I'm 5 feet tall. I weigh 86 pounds. And they don't expect me to just like, you know, like get in your face if I don't like something. But I'm learning now to sort of, when I don't like things, I've stepped back. But that's what happens when your shit gets wrecked over and over and over again. You learn to just go, okay, what am I doing here that is really attracting this? And I know in New Age bullshit, people get really upset. You didn't attract that. There's actually evil. And yeah, there is, which is why you don't want to push up against it.
Right.
You don't want to take it on. You just want to like take note of it, wake yourself up, and compose a different reality, illuminate those sectors of the universe that are outside of the matrix so you can just do your thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, leave the pendulums to swing themselves still.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, I got to say, you know, you might be, you know, 4.5 feet tall and 86 pounds, but energetically you're like 14 feet tall and you got a lot of energy, which is awesome. And
I do, and I'm an old lady. So it's like, you know, what's up with her? What's going on? Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I want to talk about too, like going up against this kind of stuff, because I think the idea here is that kind of like to sort of model kind of what they do, and what they do is they wait, they play the long game. It's that sort of Fabian sort of cut off the supply line, don't actually engage, you know. But because pedophiles belong in wood chippers, let's be honest. And that's generous.
Yes, they do.
But if we, you know, wave our hands, it's kind of like what Vadim says in Transurfing. If you go into the store and you're like, don't kick me out of the store, what do you think is going to happen? You know, you're waving your hands around and you're screaming, you know, you know, don't please. And you're getting all this energy attracted to you, and you're going to get exactly that thing that you don't want. But, you know, in a moment like that, I think the best thing to do is to take note and just, you know, take stock of what's going on.
And that is what I do. I mean, I have notebooks in every room of my house and in my car, in my bag. And of course, there's the phone. So it's constant of this observing what is going on and noticing my little when I get triggered or when it catches my attention to where I'm like, okay, am I awake or am I asleep again? What's going on? And,
for sure.
And to operate from that level of self-awareness so that I don't get caught up, because I mean, here we are. We're at the beginnings of what I call the Holy Haze Days craze of the gaga zaza of Hallmark, etc. And I'm like, okay, that's why people are crazy right now. You know, they're in the hustle and bustle. And then we have the Sevenoinson thing going on and excessive lockdowns. And it's like, okay, wake up, kids, you know, be aware of where you are getting pulled into and where your attention is going. And because that's where the energy suck happens.
Yeah, that's right. It's subversive. It just kind of like lures you in, you know, and the Holy Haze Days craze. I love it.
I got to make fun of stuff. And that's probably, I've been criticized about that, they don't know whether I'm serious or making fun. I'm both serious and making fun of shit, because
Absolutely.
it's just like, look at the theater. I mean, when you think about Goobermans and you think about, there's a reason why our branches of military call it the theater when they go to war, or there's some kind of activity that's like happening. It's like, you guys,
Absolutely.
lovey-dovs.
And I love that you're serious and making fun simultaneously. That's something that I think is so important. We have to be able to laugh at ourselves and not take ourselves too seriously, and we have to understand that duality, polarity is a bitch. You're never gonna nail it down ever.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the whole thing about the totality of human experience. I know I'm from California in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I come from the land where on every street corner, there is a self-proclaimed tantric master, my friend. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Exactly. So I've learned how to roll my eyes without moving them. And, it's a lot of it is so absurd because it's just plain fucking ridiculous to me. And it's laughable. And people will make a boatload of money peddling that bullshit. And women and men, they fall for it.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It definitely is. It's and that's I think that's a good thing that we're talking about, because it's like, if you are talking to your spirit guides, the first thing they'll tell you is to shut the fuck up about spirit guides. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, you don't go out there swinging all this, stuff around,
Exactly.
Take a step back. Exactly. Have some discretion. So, for folks who are new or just coming in, or are just kind of like, oh, well, I'm going to watch so-and-so channel. Well, I'd say 98% of channel material is questionable at best.
It is a bit. And I've gotten sucked into some of the stuff back in the 80s, man. Woo! I hit quite a bit of channeling events.
Yeah.
I'll
It's interesting. Again, I'm not saying that it's not true. I believe in it, and I can make fun of it at the same time. And I think that's why I'm saying I think it's like so important that you can be serious and make fun about it, because there's definitely some hucksters out there, but there's also some people who are bringing some very important, words. But I think that, like, spiritually, I came up in the church, the Pentecostal church, and so there was some showiness.
Wow.
In the Pentecostal church. But ultimately what I took from that was that, I have a personal relationship spiritually, and that's what we each one of us has. And when we get together and like show all this stuff, it makes me feel so uncomfortable, and I just cringe, so hard, and I want to like collaborate with people and work together, but I'm very, very picky about who I'll do that with.
It's important. It's really important to be discerning with a lot of the stuff, because God only knows what kind of entities are getting activated, what entities are actually being channeled in, and most people are not aware of the unseen realm and the various levels and planes of existence. And so when you start wielding that stuff and you don't know it, you're dangerous. I always tell people, they would go, well, come to this, there's a New Life Expo, blah, 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 blah. Now, in its defense, I built my private practice doing a whole mess of these across the country back in the 80s and 90s when I was, establishing myself. So that being said, I still say it. If you want to be going to a very dangerous place, go to a psychic fair, because you see these people that are like pushing their wares about, oh, let me take this entity off you. And they take this thing off of you. And what do? They throw it down on the fucking ground. And if you track that little mofo, it's like hopping from one body to the next, to the next, to the next, hanging up on the ceiling, doing all kinds of stuff. and you have a bunch of people doing this, and it's a fucking, it's an entity fest, basically.
Yeah.
So I never felt really well in those situations. I'd sit there and grid and do all kinds of raising my frequency so I wouldn't be as effective. But most people were like, just like, where am I? What am I? Oh, you want my credit card? Here's my bag. Get it out of my wallet. I mean, literally people doing that because they don't know what they're doing. They're under influence.
Right. They are. And that's easy to do. And there's also, like I had a friend who, she would go to some of those expos, and she's an incredibly talented artist, and she could like look at you and see you, and then she could draw your spirit guide, and she could be like, here you go. Here's a portrait. But she just was so uncomfortable with the I don't know, the hokiness and the over the top, regalia, the drama.
The fairy does. The fairy does.
Right.
We're just gonna like take the energies, and it's just gonna align, and it's gonna be
exactly.
And then you get glitter in your face.
Right.
I wear contact lenses. It's like, bitch, get that shit out of my face. I'm not having it. That's crazy.
And then
invasive.
Exactly. And there are some people, again, serious and making fun. I have friends who are incredibly, incredibly talented at what they do. And usually they have one or two specialties, and that is what they do, and so when it comes down to it, and I don't usually like to share that kind of stuff, but when someone has a gift, then I will, but I am very, very careful. Let's talk about maybe some red flags that could be potentially marked as far as people go. When we're in a situation and we're like, hey, maybe because I have done the same. I've ignored red flags, and fortunately, there's an advantage in that. And sometimes we have to learn the hard way.
Yes. Yes.
But I've seen red flags, and my intuition go, and I've still just gone ahead with it. And then I find myself in a position where I'm like, oh man, I should have listened to my gut on that one. It was a mistake.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because when you think about it, there are the real McCoys, and then there are what I call the NSPs, the narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, who actually see those types of things as an opportunity to not only troll, but to rob on every level, whether it's your financial energy or your psychic energy, sexual energy, whatever it is. And so I know one of the red flags is, I know you in a past life. I mean, it's like, dude, get away from me. Don't go there with me. Do not do it. And people fall for it, or just this excessive flattery, where you just all of a sudden get love bombed, and you're the soulmate, and oh, do you remember our past life on that battlefield? I mean, I want to slap people when I hear that, because it's like, it's the weirdest pickup line ever to me. But so then, funny. Oh, dude, I've witnessed it, and especially when you have a booth, because you're getting trolled, and invariably I did this stuff by myself for many, many years, bring the table, and finally figured it out. Oh, I'll just rent a table from a massage place, right? A massage school nearby, and they have those. So I would get trolled, and you'd notice it already, because you can feel them tooling around in your ovaries. You can feel it. They're in there, and they're wondering, okay, how can I get her attention? And I'm just like, shields up, man. Here's one. And after a while, you start hearing the same lines over and over again. And it makes me wonder, what, do they all study with the pickup artists or something? Is this what happened? Because it's like the same worn out shit.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely are pickup artists out there, and they do have lines and stuff for sure. And it's funny because I've heard that too, and it's like, my response honestly is like, oh, we've had past lives together. Well, let's just take a break this time. You know what I mean? Like, we've already done this. We've been down this road already. So maybe we try something.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That that's a good one. That's a good one.
I mean,
Oh
it's
my
kind of
God.
practical too, and no disrespect to anybody, and maybe they, I don't believe anybody was insincere with me. And I can see like a line of men coming up to you. We had past lives. We had past lives. We had past lives, and I don't feel that way, about about any of those situations that I've had. But as like a practical answer, it's like, oh, we have. Well, maybe we should just, I don't know, try it
Yeah,
again next
yeah,
time or something, or I'll
yeah,
catch you on the flip, let's hit that
yeah.
purple light and
Well,
see what
and
we
you
turn
can
into.
feel the sort of neediness that comes from people who want something from you that is a little more than what your purpose is to be there to begin with. And so it's very strange. It is really, really strange because that draw, and for a while there, I was just like wide open. I was under the spell of just saying yes to everything. You know that one?
Oh
That
yeah.
spell? Oh, yeah. And it's like, ugh, it's mind control. It's ridiculous. It's like, no, no, let's talk about the lost word of no. I mean, that's one of my appreciations from Mark Passio's work is the lost word of no. Yet, nine, goodbye. Yeah, God.
Absolutely. It's very, very powerful, the word no. And we really need to be, as a society, I think, more I guess fluid with that word. It's just like no, because it's not, again, it's not fighting against
Right.
something. It's like taking opposition. It's just no, just like simple no, and then withdrawing, and I'm done. So yeah, so it's interesting. I think one of those flags, like it's okay to want something. I think not necessarily like from somebody or get something from somebody, but to want stuff. Like I think that sometimes in the movement we talk a lot about like, oh, it's you can't want anything. If you want something, then you don't have it, and you're telling the universe. And it's like, look, dude, it's okay to want something. It's okay to desire something. I think usually those wants are like, sincere. They're for us to work out. Now, neediness, on the other hand, that's where like we drum up, I think, a lot of importance and a lot of excess
Yes.
potential and a
Yes.
lot of like this weird energy and vibe that pushes things away, because that
Exactly.
neediness.
The expectation or the entitlement. It's more, I think it's more entitlement because out of need, I think, especially when you're attached to having that need met, and you have not yet figured out how to ask for your needs and how to not collapse if you make the request and the person just says no. And, to not collapse or not to turn into some psycho that goes postal because somebody told you, no, I'm not able to do that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And to come from a place where you can, in a healthy way and not derogatory, but just deny a request from somebody else, no disrespect, nothing personal, but no, and on a big level too, as well as like in an interpersonal level, it's a good thing. We each have our own power. We need to cultivate and hold on to our energy and not just give it away. I think that's been my issue in the past. Is that I'm a 2 on the Enneagram type. It's taken me a while to determine it. I was like,
I'm an 8.
Are you an 8? Okay, cool.
I'm an 8. So when I'm in a good place, I've got a 2. I've got a 2 that I go to. I also have the 9, which makes it hard to say no to human suffering. But I also have the 7 that also wants to go, fuck this, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And then when I'm stressed, I go to the 5 where I disappear. I'm a hermit. And people, it's funny. I had a recent, it was not a falling out. It actually was a miscommunication with a very, very dear friend of mine. This is a woman that I tremendously respect. And so one of the things that I have learned over the years is I don't chase people. I don't chase men. I don't chase people. I don't chase. I don't chase. It's like I believe in divine timing and all that kind of stuff. And so I have a tendency, I've been accused in relationships to be very guy-like in a way where people don't know where I am, or I shut off my phone a lot. I shut off Wi-Fi. I do that kind of shit. Not because I'm an asshole necessarily, although I don't like people in general. I don't like zombies. So I just don't want to deal with it. And I need my space. I need Wi-Fi out of my fucking house. I don't want to be bombarded. I don't want Siri talking to me or Alexa talking to me or Cortana talking to me. It's like, back off, bitches. You're not in my realm. I can't do it. So what happens is that people who want to communicate with me, they think, well, what's up with her? She's so hard to get hold of. I'm not hard to get hold of, actually. But I know that if I feel like you're going through something or I'm going through something, I have a tendency to withdraw. So just this whole thing about being off the radar and having it misconstrued that I'm indifferent, I'm not. I'm a very sensitive person. And so I need a lot of downtime. And I'm not social per se. I mean, I can socialize. I can go in and out of bougie crowds and, get down with people on the street. I'm easy that way, but I need my energy. And when too much input, I'm like, I can't. I have to submerge my entire body in the hot tub.
There you go.
And just kind of like, until I can't take it. I need to take a breath, just to decompress all of that input. And I think that is part of the whole thing with boundaries, that I believe in new age bullshit. We've been harmed tremendously because we're just supposed to accept everything. Well, yes, there's accepting everything, but that doesn't mean that you leave yourself wide open. It doesn't mean that you leave your door unlocked.
Exactly.
Or invite somebody. One of the dumb things that I did, and it's funny. So with the old YouTube channel, I used to have these things on my YouTube channel where, hi, I'm at the airport. I would tell people my gate number, where I was. Like, who the fuck does that? And then I wonder why people are angry with me, because they'll actually meet me at the gate with a drink and I won't drink it. And all of a sudden, I'm like this boozy biatch because, I'm not going to take that drink. I don't know where, I'm not going to take that bottle of wine. I don't know you. And, it's such a setup. And I did it. It's like, hi, come see me. So dumb.
Well, you get in and you start to feel that good energy, and people are in the same, having the same ideas and thoughts as you are, and all this kind of stuff. And for me, I never thought, I was so naive. I never thought that anybody would become a part of this movement for any other reason than to just help other people. But that's not necessarily true.
No, it's not necessarily true. They're trolling. They're trolling for, Mr. and Miss Right.
That's right.
Take care of me.
That's right.
The
perfect place for the fox is in the hen house. So that is one of those things. So boundaries, very, very important. And it's something that, I don't know, like as I'm basically like a Spanish woman in a lumberjack's body. So that's basically
that's hot. That's fucking hot.
That's basically how I roll. So I've had to be a little bit more, kept together and focused on having my own boundaries. We all have to be able to be independent before we can be codependent. And I was the one who tried to jump from codependency to interdependency.
Absolutely.
And so that's not possible. And it seems a little bit selfish. Especially if you're coming in and you're like, oh, I want to share and I want to be a part of a group and I want to do this. And a lot of groups, especially a group that doesn't have, let's say, like a constitution. I mean, some people might not like that word, but whatever. How about a mission statement?
Yeah,
doesn't have
exactly.
Principles. Yeah, exactly. If they don't have principles very specific that are measurable and understandable and not vague, then it becomes a collectivist pendulum. And then now you're swinging, over here before you know it, you've lost who you are. And now you're part of this group that you really don't identify with, but it's too late now. And now you're part of it. And now you're doing whatever's for the collective benefit or the social
Yeah.
good, you know?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like- you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I know. It's kind of like the shit show that's going on, but we will not digress into such things, okay? That's just like, oh,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly. But yeah, for people, you know, who are kind of coming in, keep your boundaries, keep your energy. That's yours, you know, and you can get to the place. And I think that I have personally, now that I'm part of the autonomy or affiliated with the autonomy group, which the first rule of autonomy is no masters and no slaves, number one. It's
excellent.
yeah, it's excellent. And I was telling somebody today, I was like, well, it's a group of like profound individualists, and they're like, well, that's an oxymoron. And I'm like, life's a paradox. So you know, like, yes, that's true, it is an oxymoron, but duality is, you know, a bitch again. You know, it's like if you are voluntarily part of a group, and I was kind of talking to my mom about this the other day, because she was, you know, kind of going on about like, oh, it's, you know, I can't remember what phrase it was. It was a phrase kind of like, you know, for the better good, or something like that. And I was like, yeah, blah 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 blah. But keeping in mind that when people come together and work together voluntarily, there can be an interdependent relationship that can be cultivated, as long as people are not, you know, forced or coerced in that group or in that relationship or situation. You know,
Yes.
it's like a bunch of individual people that come together for a purpose that they all agree to, and they can also leave whenever, and there's no, you know, masters or slaves. Well, at that point, that group can be actually a healthy and beneficial environment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We don't want no gurus here.
Mm-mm.
We don't want no gurus.
Oh.
It's my mantra. I hate gurus, man. You know, I mean, I don't hate them. I realize, yeah, some people need them for a while. And then I think the purpose of gurus is for the individual that gets ensnared to like snap out of it and,
Yep.
you know, just wake up from the hypnosis,
Yeah.
giving your power away to someone. You know,
There's
I
a
always tell people, you want to put that on me? I will disappoint your ass so badly. It won't be fun. It won't end well, you know. And that's happened quite a lot where, you know, people will like project that kind of thing onto me, and then they realize, oh shit, man, she's not perfect. She has issues. Yeah, I do. We have issues.
yeah, I do.
And
Yeah.
I cannot provide that teat for you. I'm sorry.
Right. Likewise, like the other day, yeah, I was about to lose my mind because I started to record an audiobook, and then of course a freaking leaf blower goes off, you know, and I'm just like,
That happens all the time. Is that wacky?
it is wacky. I went from like almost crying over this beautiful ancient text to like wanting to like stab somebody who's just trying to make $8 an hour. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, I'm certainly not perfect. I've got a lot of work to do, and we all do, you know, that's part of the thing. But yeah, I mean, those things can swing, and obviously like I didn't do the thing, but I felt that compulsion, that like anger, that trigger, that pendulum that hooks you, you know, like I've been working on this for, you know, 3-4 years now. So I'm much more aware of it than I used to be. Like I used to like wake up and I'd maybe like knock over something, or like, you know, I don't know, have a temper tantrum. And then now I'm like, oh, well, but I mean, I feel it, but I don't necessarily give into it as much.
Yes. Yeah. I give it the eye roll now. It's like, oh Lord. And I've actually lowered so with the old channel, you know, I had my assistant who passed away in 2018, who did everything. So everything was like fancy. Like my makeup was perfect. I wore false fucking eyelashes. You know what I'm saying? And I had like, you know, perfect clothes. And at one point we did shots where I got 5-inch spiked heels, man. And I am just like dressed to the nines. And now I'm at my desk with this teeny tiny ring light in my fucking iPhone. And I've got my little notes here on my PC. I hit record and it's fucking uploaded directly to YouTube from there. And I get trolled because these makeup people will go, you know, you should do something about that bag under your eye.
Oh my God.
I got fucking spammed with eye creams. Like, I'm just like going, what the hell? And then getting spammed with a bunch of suggestions from people about lighting. It's like, you know what? I'm not here to look beautiful for you. I'm not here to deal with the bags under my, this isn't a fucking makeup channel. You know, I'm so sorry. And I'm not going to learn editing programs. I've got a ton of material, and that's what I'm focusing in on.
Well, you don't need to edit your videos because you just go right through the whole thing. You just got to start from the beginning and you just da, 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 da. And so like I got to cut out the ums and stuff. And you know, also
I keep mine in.
yeah, I keep some of them in, but you know, I've been doing, you know, that kind of stuff, and I'm also cutting up sketches and stuff now. So I'm getting a little bit better at editing and learning more about that as like a way to present. You know, it's just part of the presentation, and we all have our own.
And it's
thing.
great. I love how you're doing the, you know, the flip charts, and it's just like, because I used to do whiteboarding, and I thought about it. It's like, no.
Well, I'm not much of an artist, and I just started doing the flip charts because the whiteboard has so much glare on it.
Yeah,
So a friend of mine was like, it's so glary, you got hot spots, you know, and if you would try a little, because since that was one of the things that I was doing, honestly, like I would try really hard on behalf of a group. You know, I might be in a group and I'd be like, I'm going to make this perfect. I'm going to get approval because I'm a 2. And 2s, we want approval. We want people to appreciate what we've done. I hate it, but it's true. I'm not going to pretend like it's not. So it is what it is. And that's what's cool about the Enneagram types is it shows you your motivation. So I think that's really, really neat. So it's taken me a while to figure out that I'm a 2 because I thought I might be a 7 first, and I tested and it was a 7, and I was like, that makes sense because I do love a good time. But it turns out, but who doesn't love a good time? It doesn't mean you're a 7 necessarily. I had to go back through and watch a bunch of videos and then did a couple more tests, and then I've been reading Beatrice Chestnut's stuff, which is fantastic. And I'm like, you know what? I understand what my motivation is. That's really how to tell, you know, which one of these types I am. And I'm a 2. And so, you know, from coming from that place, it's the helper. And I want to help people. I want to be, you know, I want to be able to bring value and those types of things. So I wind up, you know, doing all this extra stuff for the group that I'm in, but then I wasn't doing that for myself. So I was again skipping independence.
Oh, I know this one.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to be a 2 to do that. Anybody could fall prey to that. But for me personally, that's just such a big motivation. It's like, if I'm going to do this thing, like I want, you know, people to be like, oh, that was great. Good job. Even if, you know, it's just like a, you know, smack me on the butt getting out of the huddle kind of thing, you know, good, you know, good game or whatever, you know, for whatever reason, you know, it's like I'm a words of affirmation love language, right? It's like, you know, it's like, just tell me how great I am, appeal to my ego.
Yes. No, I was the dysfunctional mommy and daddy, you know, it's like, I'll feed you and I'll pay for everything. Among other things, you know, geez Louise, what is going on? And you know, it's like, huh? And it's hard to get off of that. It's a hamster wheel. I mean, it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. Because, you know, my main thing is that I grew up in abuse and disappointment, and I just didn't want to put that on anybody else ever. You know,
right.
Didn't. So I just put up with a lot of shit because I just thought that's what I just need to do in order to not be what I don't want. However, we all know that is not sustainable.
Yeah. And then you're focusing on what you don't want, right? And so at that point,
so there's more of it.
Exactly. So subconsciously,
fancy that.
How
does that happen?
Amazing. Yeah, no, it's great. No, and yeah, for folks out there, you know, hang on to your boundaries, you know, and there are terrible things. There's evil out there, but fighting directly against it isn't necessarily the way to beat it. You know, it's like, we've both learned that the hard way.
Oh yeah. It's fun. It's really, really fun. And I think for me too, what blows me away is that I knew about the excess potentials and the balancing forces. I knew that way back when. And in fact, so when I first learned of RT, the transurfing material, That was back in 2005. And it's so funny because immediately I was part of a community in Marin County, applying the principles of the law of attraction and doing all this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, like, fuck the system and on and on. And oh my God, I'll be damned if that entire group, and there were some famous people in this group, didn't get gutted by that Ponzi asshole who's doing time. I mean, we're talking losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. And just like that, after I read Vadim's work, I mean, you can't make that shit up because you cannot push up against the things you don't like. And that's the thing in law of attraction. Like, people will say, well, The Secret kind of sucked and law of attraction. Well, actually, there's some good points there because they talk about not pushing up against the shit you don't like. They talk about not focusing on that and reaching for a better feeling thought, you know. So I found a lot of the stuff actually really quite helpful. But you have to, it's all about context, and it's all about, are you creating in the matrix or outside of the matrix? Because if you're creating outside of the matrix, then you are not subject, as you know, to all of the pendulums, the programs, the mind control, the scripts, the automated and you're not subject to that when you create outside of the matrix. And, you know, people are, well, how do you do that? You have to own your attention. I mean, it's simple. And they think it's like, and I think this is part of what I find annoying about New Age bullshit as far as being woke. Of course, that term, as you know, it's been hijacked 9 ways to Sunday. It's like, geez Louise. I mean, who knows what the fuck it means now? But the woke that I'm talking about is where you are in control of your attention. And it's not a one-off event. People think, I can just like wake up and everything's gonna be perfect. It's like, it's like, snap out of it. No, it's not a one-off event. It's constant because it's easy to snooze. It's easy to just doze off. You know, it's like, oh shit, I do it all the time. I catch myself. Just the other day, I was like driving. I did it again. I'm slamming on my brakes, not to rear end this person at a stoplight. And why? Because I'm in my reverie and I'm going, wow, I live here. Yeah, hello, wake up. You're operating a motor vehicle.
Absolutely. No, I mean, and Vadim is exactly right. And Transurfing, where he's talking about, you know, how people can like get triggered and then all of a sudden they black out and then they wake up and they've done something horrible.
Exactly.
You know,
horrifying.
Yeah. It's not like you just attain, you know, your conscious center screen one time and then boom, you're there forever.
It is a practice with the center screen.
It never ever ends.
I know, never ends. And I think, and people get really upset that, you know, they don't want to believe it. They really believe that there's some kind of magical kind of thing where I'm awake.
yeah, right.
It's so mental. It's like, nah, yeah, okay, fine.
Magic now.
Yeah, and I believe in magic. I do.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
you know, the magic, I believe, requires your consciousness. You got to be conscious all the time.
And you got to respect your personal relationship to the universe too. I think the more that you can be, there's a lot of like biblical truths, you know, growing up in the church, it's like faithful in little, faithful in much, you know, if you can keep a secret. Let's talk about a secret.
What's your favorite one?
My favorite one, what, like Bible verse?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Now I'm on the spot.
That you have value from, and that you.
I do like.
Not to be true.
Yeah, the faithful in little, faithful in much is the one I can think of right now, and because that makes sense. It's like you're going to grow and you're going to evolve, you know, and if you can prove that you're going to be worthy with that little morsel, you know,
Yeah.
whatever that is. And you're like, I can keep a secret. I can keep, I can hold intimacy. I can hold space with the universe in this little, you know, in my little room, like the White Stripe song, when you're in your little room, you know, and he's talking about, you know, you're working on something good. And then you get to your big room where you might have to think about how you got started when you were in your little room, you know, and it's like, it's that very conscious observation, connection, and relationship, I would say, to the universe or God or spirit or whatever you want to call it, right? Infinity, the space of variations, whatever. And that is that ability to create outside the matrix.
Cool.
And I think that the more that you prove yourself worthy, and the more that you listen to that in your intention, your intuition, excuse me, the more that you continue to build that faith and trust in your own inner voice, your own self.
Yeah.
And then,
that's cool.
and then you get handed bigger and bigger opportunities over time.
It's very true. It's very true. Ask, it is given. It really is, you know.
Knock and it shall be opened. You know?
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, all the red words. That Jesus guy was pretty smart. I liked all the stuff he had to say. Big fan of that dude. And a lot of the Gnostic stuff I want to read. I haven't had the opportunity to yet, but I'm curious to read a bunch of that stuff as well. The Old Testament stuff seems a little bit contradictory.
It's a little disturbing.
Right.
Leviticus in particular for me.
Who is this masochist?
It's like,
you know?
geez Louise.
Yeah.
Hello?
In my stand-up, I'm like, Jesus is fine. Why are you guys making fun of Jesus? His dad's the asshole, you know? He's the one who's got the problem. You know what I mean? Who
We're
does
talking
that?
Twisted things here. Wow.
Yeah. And if you listen to like, what is Matt's last name? There's a guy, Matthew LaCroix's work. He talks about, and you know, it's interesting. I want to learn more about it, but he talks about like the tablets and ancient history and how things might be flipped in that older testament as far as like how it's presented. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a pretty interesting perspective, because it's like, well, why would I want to trust someone who asks someone to put their son on a stone and stab them to death, even though they're like, don't go through with it. But, you know, but it's like, you got to prove that you're willing to do that. It's like, really? I mean,
it's like Dostoevsky being in front of the firing squad and getting a reprieve. It's like, Lord have mercy.
Really? Wow.
Hello? Yikes.
Was that really necessary? Jesus.
I know, it's like,
I thought I was the Spanish woman in a lumberjack's body, you know? Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm speculating on all that, but Matt LaCroix's work is excellent, though. He does a lot of the ancient tablet stuff. Yeah, he's fantastic. I want to try to get him on the show at some point if I can. He's done a lot of work. He's written a book called The Stage of Time. And so his work focuses on ancient history and the tablets. He's like, if you wanted to get a message down to people, would you paint it on a cave, or would you write it on a piece of paper, or would you tattoo it on the earth? You know what I mean? Like, this is important, guys. You might want to read this. You know, like they've etched it into stone at that point. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Yeah, there's a lot, you know, if people are getting in, there's a lot of rabbit holes to go down. And as you have personally explored, and some of them are pretty
stinky, some really stinky, shitty, rabbit holes. Yikes. Nobody cleaned up around here. Weren't they expecting me? Apparently they were. and I used to clean houses. So, you know, I have this cleaning lady persona, Irma Mizrahi. I shit you not. And I have some OCD tendencies. It's not so bad now. I mean, gathering from the look of my home now, it's not bad. But there was a time when I made everybody nervous. I had a little, you know, my little apron, a squirt bottle, a fucking sponge, salt, just in case somebody spilled red wine somewhere. Oh my God, I was insane. And it's like, what's going on back there? And I really had to look at my issues of control, you know, okay, well, I can control how clean things are.
Well,
it's not pretty. It isn't pretty. It's just like, oh my God, take a pill, girl. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom she read the speed cleaning book. So she had the apron with she had Windex and, 409 and
Oh, yeah.
sponges and
Fantastic.
yeah,
It
she'd
was
just go around,
the day. Yeah.
just crush it.
Yeah.
And then of course, she would clean the whole house and there would be a toenail on the staircase.
Oh,
She would
shit.
lose her mind.
Oh my
Oh
God.
man, people were coming over to have a party or something. It was interesting. She'd be yelling at me and my sister, I can't believe I cleaned the whole house. I cleaned the whole house. Ding dong. Oh, hey. Somebody shows up and just on a dime, oh, how's it going?
Shit.
Come
Oh
on
my
in.
God. Yeah. No, it's a very odd thing, the whole cleanliness. Just that rabbit hole. It's wow. And I know for me, it was about being criticized constantly for not doing my chores correctly, well enough, good enough, completely. And so, there's it's a pendulum in and of itself.
Yeah.
Where I just got caught up in that, and imagine doing that in couture. It's fuck, my feet hurt.
Yeah.
I'm walking around in Charles Jourdan spiked heels, 4-inch spiked heels in couture, on my hands and knees, on the kitchen floor. What the fuck? Get off your knees, girl. What are you doing? And I remember catching myself. There was a mirror in the foyer in by the door of my house and seeing myself and going, shit. That's not flattering right there because I looked crazy. I looked insane.
Oh, that's funny though. It's great to be able to, to be serious and make fun.
Yeah,
and that's awesome. And so for everybody out there, especially if you're new, definitely don't listen to what either one of us have to say because your intuition knows better.
Don't believe a word.
That's right. That's right. Your intuition knows. Kill the guru. You are your own guru. There's no enlightenment type of thing, I don't know, maybe there is for you, whatever. But you determine all that. That reminded me, there was this movie that I saw a few years ago. Let me see if I can share the screen here. It's pretty good, called Kumare. And this guy pretends to be a guru and he's just
I remember this.
You remember that?
I do remember this.
Yeah. And yeah. If you're out there and you think you need to listen to Eckhart Tolle or whomever, and I love Eckhart Tolle, I'm not trying to pick on him, or what's his name? He wrote the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, Deepak Chopra, which that book is great. I highly recommend reading that book. It's excellent, but it's not about the person. It's not about the person. Listen to principles. That's where we get to interdependence. It's based on principle. Codependence is based on another person, and you're having this, unhealthy relationship dynamic where you rely on them or they rely on you or vice versa, and it's just nasty and needy and gross. I want to encourage you to not fall into that trap that I have. Yeah. And if you have followed a person in the past, maybe give Kumare a watch. It is available on Amazon Prime. So there we go. So
yeah, I do remember that.
It was great. I remember seeing it a few years ago too, and I still fell into the trap, and saw it the other day. And I was like, oh my God, no, I should have remembered this from 2008 or 9 or whenever I saw it. But Marja, thank you so much for taking the time to come and chat with me.
You're welcome.
Your channel on YouTube is Love, Truth, and Beauty.
Love, Truth, and Beauty.
And on Instagram, dakini.kiss.
Dakini.kiss. Exactly.
And I will have all those links in the show notes, folks. Please give Marja a follow. She is spitting hot fire. She's got bars for days. Ladies and gentlemen, Marja West, thank you so very much. You're wonderful. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.